Hello, my name is Kurt, and today I'll be talking about another MGTOW topic. Topic in this video will be European women and their values versus American women and their values, and this is going to be a very broad video. I'm just going to talk about just random stuff here, some comparisons that I've seen when I actually went to Europe and, life here in America and stuff like that. Now, there's a lot of MGTOW channels. There's French MGTOW channels. There's a lot of Australian men, making MGTOW channels and stuff, and pretty much Russian. There's men from all over the world following the MGTOW movement because they're seeing the degeneracy of women in modern day society. But when I went to Europe, I went to Poland maybe 10 years ago, or maybe a little bit more than that. I saw a lot more traditional values, No matter where I was in Poland, I saw more women just in dresses, not using makeup, not having fake nails, and not being all bitchy and shit like that. They know how to cook, they know how to clean, stuff like that. I don't know how it is now. Like I said, I haven't been there for like 10 years or more. Maybe it's different now, but even comparing it to America back then and America now, it's in my opinion, I think Europe is definitely on the better side of the spectrum. Like American women, a majority of them, they don't know how to cook, they don't know how to clean, they don't know how to do anything. They don't know how to nurture children properly and all that stuff, and it's really crazy. Like I said, I have a lot of friends that are dating American women or even immigrant women that were born to immigrant parents and stuff like that, or they're married or whatever, and the man has to cook, the man has to clean, the man has to take care of the fucking children, and it's all crazy. It's all crazy. It's like, why the fuck would you want to be in that relationship if there's no balancing, The man gets the worst side of the stick. You got to do all these fucking things, and what do you get from it? You might get sex once a week, maybe once a fucking month. The majority of American women are obese. They don't want to exercise. They don't care about their looks because it's glorified. The media, through everything, be proud of your curves, Being fat is the new skinny, and you see fat models, and it's sort of glorified to be unhealthy pretty much. Like, how the fuck did that happen, How did we go from like the 60s and even the 70s in America, even the 80s, of, like, guys being alpha, dressing in suits, ties, all this shit, to today's society where men are starting to become more feminine, which I addressed in my other video, and following feminine values. Like, there's stay-at-home dads now, and the women bring the food to the table, and the women do all that stuff, it's going against nature. In my opinion, it's going against nature. A lot of people don't mind this, but for me, it's like, would I really want to sit at home and have a kid and like take care of the kid and have my wife go at work and fuck the boss or who the fuck knows what they're doing? And then women could say, oh yeah, that's what we've been doing. We've been staying at home watching the kids, this and that, and then it's time for a change, this and that. But they're better at that. That's the thing. They're fucking better at that, If I had kids to take care of, I'd take them to the park, ride a bike, whatever. We'll play some video games, whatever. It's pretty chill, but if a child's being raised in today's society, they need both sides of the coin. They need the female nurturing, and they need the alpha male dominance, discipline, or whatever. And then they end up being decent kids. Because if they're just raised by the father or just raised by the mother, They end up being rebels, and they end up not respecting one parent in one way or another, and it just breeds a lot of chaos. So if you look into Spain and all these other countries, European countries, you'll see that there are still women that are kind of like decent to be around, you know, and in Asian countries especially, like the women believe in being in the presence of an alpha male, and the male is expected to be alpha, and the females follow feminine roles. But then you have places like Japan, where guys are saying fuck off and becoming herbivore men, and jacking off to anime, and the women are like visiting these dating cafes and dating supermodels for like $300 an hour and stuff like that, and it's insane. But it's an Americanized thing, because here in America it's like this whole like, oh, I'm an independent woman, I don't need no man, I'm powerful, this and that, I got a dildo, I don't need you. And it's always these fat, ugly land whales that say this bullshit. Well, fuck you. I got fleshlights, I got all this other shit I could use too. You know what I'm saying? So they could go fuck themselves as well. In one way, it's making it better for most guys, because women say, oh, I don't need men. Well, men don't really need women that much nowadays either, I'm saving my money, saving my time. I visit escorts, I could get one of these fucking fleshlight things, pound it every night, and why would I have to bother with anybody, And this whole obesity and everything, women don't want to exercise. This fat thing is glorified. There's fat models. Be proud of your curves. Being fat is okay. When has it become a trend to see obesity as something that's fine? It's unhealthy. It's genetically fucking you over, and kids that are produced from people like that end up being fat and shit like that too, because they spoil them with McDonald's and all this shit, and it's creating generations of fucked up people. Women actually gave a fuck. Back in the day, they would hit the gym, they would keep fit, they would go on jogs, whatever, this and that. Most of my friends dating American women, they exercise, whatever. They're like, hey, honey, let's go for a jog. Oh, I don't feel like it. I have to watch my soap opera, or, listen to my feminist bullshit radio, or fuck knows what else they're doing. And I feel that European men and more traditional are more traditional men, and they lean more towards the alpha male spectrum of things, and they want a pretty woman, they want a girly woman, they want feminine women. Most of the European men that I spoke to, they're like, yeah, I don't like when a woman wears too much makeup. I don't like when she's fucking, does these fake ass nails and all these fake ass appearances and whatever, Know what was nice back then? Fucking classy women. Women that wore fucking Chanel dresses, and put a little Chanel perfume on, and like resonated an aura of femininity, Now even like the richer women, they're super stuck up. Like I've talked to a lot of rich women, and they could wear their Gucci dresses and their Gucci shoes and all that stuff, but they're just fucking stuck up and so fucking stupid. Like, oh, I won't date you unless you make fucking $100,000 more than me every year and shit like that, and spoil me with all these gifts and all this stuff. For what? I'm gonna buy you Gucci or fucking Chanel dresses, whatever, Gucci shoes, whatever, Gucci handbags, and then what are you gonna do? You're gonna get bored sooner or later, and you're gonna fuck some other bloke, I don't have time for that shit, people. I don't have time for that shit. I'm an alpha male and I'm a classic man, you know? I believe in taking care of myself. I believe in working out. I believe in dressing nice, sophisticatedly. You know, I have Giorgio Armani suits. I have Ermenegildo Zena shirts, you know. I'm a classy motherfucker. I like it that way, you know, and I don't need any woman impeding on that, you know. I do it for myself. I don't do it to impress women. I don't give a fuck. I just do it to be my own person, you know. I like that stuff. I like a life of luxury. I like, you know, old school things. I like kicking back, listening to some Frank Sinatra, you know, chilling out, drinking some whiskey, stuff like that. A lot of women nowadays, they'll find that boring, you know. They want to listen to twerking music. They want to listen to Justin Bieber. They want to listen to all this bullshit, you know. It's fucking crazy. Anyway, guys, decently quick video. An American man's perspective, you know. I might visit Europe again sometime soon, because last time I visited I went all over the place and there was still a lot of traditional, just feminine women everywhere. Especially when I went to this place, the Gurole, they're called mountain people. They have electricity and that, they still ride horses and stuff sometimes, they have their own land, they have a little log cabin, whatever this and that. The females make some cakes, they make some food, they sell it to tourists, this and that, you know. It was still a good place. I don't know how it is now, you know. Like I said, if I visited now, my eyes would probably open and there would be a lot of different things I would see, you know. That's probably what, you know, my European MGTOW brothers and are preaching, you know. They're like, fuck, it's fucked everywhere. But I feel that's because European women are trying to become more and more Americanized, you know. They watch Jersey Shore and all these bullshit, the Kardashians and all this shit, and they aspire to be that, you know. Fuck. That's smoke in my eyes. Anyway, guys, peace out.